Hello and welcome to Millennium Tech Talk. This is the Basic Door Kit Training Session 5, where we will add readers, test readers, check credentials, and do a final review. My name is Damon Palmer and I'll be your Millennium trainer for today. So how do we add readers and test relays and etc.? There will be 4 basic steps in order to accomplish these items. Step number 1 is to complete sessions 1 through 4, which I have already videoed before this session. If you have completed those, you're ready to move on to step 2, which is to add the readers to each of the door connections. And then at step 3, we will test the relay actions and credentials. And then step 4, we'll do a final review to assure completion of the entire door kit installation. Well, let's get started. Step 1, verify sessions 1 through 4. Session 1 covered preparing your kit for configuration. Session 2 covered configuring your door kit. Session 3 covered connecting your door kit to Ultra, and Session 4 covered adding access levels, card holders, and credentials. So let's go ahead and go through these one at a time, just briefly to remind us, but also to verify that we're ready to go on with Session 5. So as we went back in Session 1, just as a reminder, well, we unpacked our box, we took out our enclosure and the controller, and of course the resistors and varistors we needed for our doors. We also had a wiring diagram and of course the key for the lock. And then we also went through some things that you were to bring yourself, including a Cat5 cable and also some readers and credentials, and you'd probably need a little regular tweaker screwdriver. And we went through all that step, and then we connected our power. And again, I'll zoom in here a little bit just so we can kind of see that a little bit closer. And we connected our power right here with the jumper 2, and we used a 12-volt transformer. And then we also connected a Cat5 cable right here, and we connected it to the RJ45 connector, and that brought the avenues of both power and communication to the controller. And then we noticed that once we powered up the power supply, that the red blinking light started to flash on the controller, and that told us that we had power and the board was powered up. And then the second thing we checked was on the edge of the Cat5 connector, or the RJ45 connector, there is a flashing light right here that tells us that there is network traffic between the controller here in the CAN and the local area network. So with the flashing network light and also the power to the CAN, we now know that we are ready to go on to the next step, which is the Millennium configurator. And then once we downloaded and installed the Millennium configurator, we were able to search the network, and it does that automatically, and it dropped our enclosure directly into the Millennium configurator. And as we looked over on the right-hand side, we could see that some information is already programmed into the unit. And then I also explained that this configurator searches for the MAC address, not the IP address of the box. And in that way, your enclosures can be on any different network that you want. As long as it has access, the Millennium configurator can find it by the MAC address. All Millennium MAC addresses start with 7832.4F, as you can see here. So once the configurator finds your door kit, then you're able to, we went in and we were able to enter from the email you received from Millennium the port number, the IP address. Also, we were able to search the network for our new addressing. And we were able to enter a unique owner ID here in the configurator. And then once we hit saved, then we were able to move on to the next step, which is setting up the hardware in Ultra. So once we had logged into Ultra, we were able to click on hardware and then on controller owner ID. And then here's where we put the matching owner ID in. We hit save, and then we created the site controller itself, which was parking garage. And again, if you've missed some of these steps, please review sessions 1 through 4. And then we gave it the number that the rotary switches were addressed to on the controller. We set this to controller to host. We put the IP address that we found in the configurator and the port number that we received from the email. And then we hit save. And then the last step we did for the hardware was we set up the doors. And there are 2 doors we set up, an entrance gate and an exit gate. And we set these up with the board addresses, and we set up a name, and then we connected them to the parking garage site controller. And then we set up the reader, which was Wiegand 26-bit with a facility code, and we set up the relays so that there would be activity through valid user, and that means that we are able to use a credential that we're going to set up in the following step. That'd be step 4, which we've already done. And we're going to set them for always so that they work all the time and give them a few seconds active, and then we hit OK. And then we did the same thing with the exit gate, and we had all of our hardware set up. The next step was to go ahead and verify in the maps and then device maps that our hardware had indeed come online once we had set them up. And if you notice here, if we drop this down, the parking garage does have a green indicator on it. And if we drop it down, we'll see that both of our doors are also green, which indicates that they are online. But just as a verification, if you click on each one, you can verify from the internal configuration status. And you can see here that the site is online, the entrance gate is online, and the exit gate is also online. So this enabled us to configure and to set up the hardware and to bring them online from the Millennium configurator setup of the hardware, and now also set up in the software. And now we were ready to add access levels, card holders, and credentials. And that was the next step. We clicked on Home, and then we clicked on card holders, and then I'll bring up the card holder we created in session 4. And again, there were 10 key fields, just as a reminder: first name, last name, the unit number, or whatever number you wish to put in this field, is number 3. And then under Cards tab, we have the encoded card number, we have the facility code number, we have the active checkbox, we have the activation date, the expiration date, also the card format, and then we had the access level. So we had 10 items, and again, just a quick review: first name 1, last name 2, unit number 3, encoded card 4, facility code 5, active checkbox 6, and then activation date 7, expiration day 8, card format 9, and then the access level 10. And then we hit save, and then we close that, and then we were ready to move on to the next step, which was adding our readers and testing the system, and then finally completing it, which is what the goal of session 5 is now. Step 2, add readers to each of the door connections. Now let's transition over to the lab, and I will show you how to connect your readers to your door connections. And now we return to our door kit, and if you will consult the Technical Services Bulletin, you will see that the jumpers that we need for the readers are at jumpers number 5 and 6 and 8 and 9. So if we reach down and remove jumpers 5 and 6, skip over 7, because remember that's for the Rex positions, and then we're going to take out 8, and we're going to take out 9. And now let's expand our view and see how we connect these readers. So let's go to, as we have the 4 connector blocks that we removed, and remember from earlier steps, we have a small regular screwdriver or a tweaker, we have our 2 readers, and then in a later step we will use the credentials to test the readers. So right now we're ready to connect the 2 readers to the 4 connector blocks and then reconnect them here to our controller. So now we have our readers and our blocks all set here, so let's go ahead and connect them to each other. And let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer so you guys can see that I've already gone ahead and splayed the wires out a little bit so you can see the different colors. And let's go ahead and use this one that's here in the center. And you can see here that we have a blue wire, a black wire, a red wire, a green wire, and a white wire. And again, the white and the green are for weaken out, and then the black and the red here are for power. And again, these are 12-volt readers, and that'll be important here in a second. And then I'm using the blue wire for the light. Now you can also use the orange wire if you want the buzzer and the light as well. So either one is appropriate here, but today I'm going to use the blue wire for the LED. And so let's go ahead and connect these up. So we're going to use, again, the blocks that we removed from jumpers 5 and 6 and 8 and 9. And we're going to go ahead, I'll go ahead and grab the, I'm going to turn them around so they're facing me, so it's a little easier for me to discuss these. So again, we're going to take the jumper number 5, and we're going to put the blue lead into connector pin number 2, and we'll go ahead and tighten that up. And then we're going to put the black, or the ground for the 12-volt power, into jumper 5, pin connection number 5. And again, I always recommend that you tug on them just to make sure that they are firmly in. And then we'll take jumper number 6, and we'll go ahead and attach the red power wire. And again, here's where the difference comes in. Connector position 1 on jumper number 6 and also on jumper number 9 is for 5 volt, and jumper number 2, which we're going to use because this is a 12 volt reader, is for 12 volt DC. If you have 5 volt readers, be careful. Do not put the red lead in jumper 6 pin connection number 2, or you may fry your reader. So remember that 5 volt readers go in jumper 6 position 1, and 12 volt go into position number 2. And then we're going to put our Wiegand green lead into jumper number 6 into the position. Nope, let me loosen that up just a little bit. Go into position 3. And the white Wiegand lead goes into jumper 6 position 5. And again, make sure they're firmly tightened. Give them a quick tug. Okay, so they should look something like this. Okay, so from your left to right, we're going to go with blue. In jumper 5, pin position 2, blue. The black cable goes into number 5. And then in jumper 6, you have the red in position 2. And then you have the green in position 3. And then you have the white in position 5. And then just repeat the same steps for your other reader in positions 8 and 9. And I'll go ahead and quickly put those in. And again, jumper 8, position 2, blue. Jumper 8, position 5, black. And then jumper 9, red goes into position 2. And again, if you have a 5 volt reader, that would be position 1. But in this case, we have a 12 volt reader, so it's going into position 2. The green Wiegand wire goes into connection 3. And then the white Wiegand goes into position 5. And again, the positions for 5, 6, and 8, 9 are identical, just for reader 1 versus reader 2. And again, just tug on your leads, make sure they're firmly in the blocks. And then we're now ready to go ahead and put these into our controller positions. Let me go ahead and widen the field. And then I will go ahead and bring our readers in, and we will go ahead and connect them. I will connect now it's probably wise to go ahead and cut the power before you connect your readers. And then go ahead and put on jumper 5, jumper 6. And then for the second reader, go ahead and put in jumper 8 and jumper 9. And then we'll go ahead and tilt these up here. And then we'll reapply power. And you heard a nice bright bark of the readers coming on, and you'll notice they're also, in this case, lit blue. Some readers come on in green, some come on in blue, but they are both powered up, and you should be ready to go. Now, since we are ready to test, you're ready for the next step. Step 3, testing relay actions and credentials. Well, on the screen, you see that we have broken it into 2 views. The top view is your instance of Millennium Ultra, and your bottom view is your screenshot of the 2-door kit that we've been working on through the last 5 sessions. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the relay section, which is the lower left-hand quadrant of the controller board. And notice that I've left jumper 3 off so that you can see relay 1's light. And then also at the top of the 4 relay cluster where the 3 yellow capacitors are, right above that, there is a light for relay for door number 2, relay 1. So we're going to watch those 2 positions while I engage the relays. So how do we do that? Well, we go up and we click on Maps, and then we click on Device Map, and then we bring down our tree to the site controller that we built earlier in the sessions for this study. And then we also can see our door 1 entrance gate and our door 2 exit gate. And what we need to do to test the relays is merely do a momentary fire of the relay. And I'll just do that real quick. And if you look down the lower screen, you'll see that the relay light has indeed come on for the entrance gate. And then I'll switch to the exit gate. And again, looking right on the top of the 4 relays in the middle, you will see another light come on for door reader 2, relay 1. Okay. Now, you may also notice that some lines have been entered into our historical log in the activity screen at the top. So remember, as part of this check is to make sure that the historical log is being updated. So when I click on the entrance gate and then click momentary, and then look at the bottom, you'll notice that 2 or 3 lines have just been added to the activity log down here for the entrance gate. And if you'll notice again, I'm going to reactivate it. The relay itself has also come on in the bottom screen to the left of relays 1, and you can see that that just now went off. So we'll do the same thing for the exit gate. And again, notice that the activity screen will add a few lines to record both the command itself. It will also record it in the door memory, and it will also show it as an audit line that that this particular operator admin released this door relay and at what time. So click on momentary, and you'll see the extra lines that were added there at the bottom for the exit gate. And then down at the bottom, you'll see that the relay at the top middle of the relays has also fired. So now you can see how to test the relays. Let's go ahead and test the credentials themselves. And let me go ahead and bring the screen back out to show you that. And now we return to the door kit that we've been working on, and I bring my key fob that we have programmed in the prior session, and I go ahead and present it to the reader. And you'll notice that some green lines are added to the activity log, and the relay light was also lit. So let me go ahead and do that again. So click, and you'll see the relay light on right there. And after the 5 seconds that we programmed it, it now went off. And you'll notice in the top of the screen that we got 2 more added green lines. And now I can also present my key fob to the second reader, and you can see the same thing. The relay light came on right here, and it will go out. And then at the top of the screen, we got 2 more green lines, one for the door and one for the card holder. Okay, so as I present it again, same thing, relay light here comes on, and then at the top, 2 more lines to our log. So really a part of training and as part of testing your kit is to make sure that you're watching both the historical log to verify that the security is being recorded. In other words, we've released a door to someone with a credential, so we need to record that. And this will record both the date and the time. It will record whether this was a valid or an invalid read. In this case, it's green, and you can see that it says admitted. And it'll also give us the card holder name. It'll give us the facility code and the credential encoded card number, and it will also tell us which door that this entry was designated for. And then at the bottom, you get the confirmation of the actual relay light. And again, I'll just show you that real quick. So you do get a relay light that comes on, and again, if you were a little bit closer, you could actually hear the relay fire as well, and then it resets back to its inoperative position. So this is how we would test our credentials. This is, you saw earlier that we tested our relays remotely from the software. So now you're ready to move on to step 4. Step 4, do a final review to assure completion. Well, as we look at our final kit, as we've added our readers, we've added our Cat5 and our power, and we've programmed and configured with Millennium Configurator. We've tested our readers with the key fobs. We've also tested the relays with the software. We've tested the key in the the latch of the enclosure. So essentially this kit is complete. You'll only, at this point, all you will need to do is run all of your door-related items out to your actual door location. And again, on the left-hand side in jumpers 3 and 4, you will find your positions for the relays themselves. At the bottom, in the middle, you will find between the two readers your REX input positions. And then over on the right, you will find the 3 blocks for your alarm inputs, including the topmost one, number 7, which is for your tamper, and the one right below it is 6, which is for your door position for door 2 in this case, and so on. All these details are found on the technical service bulletin that was included with your kit. Remember, you will also find resistors and varistors depending on whether you're using DC or AC power for your strikes or any other door hardware, and you'll need to use those as needed for supervised circuits. Well, now let's go ahead and make sure that we are complete on the software side. And as we come back to our Millennium Ultra, we will go ahead and click back on hardware. And again, maybe just as a quick review, but also as a final check, we've checked it out on our controller owner ID. And again, we made sure that this matched what was programmed into the Millennium configurator. We have our site programmed, which was the parking garage. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the parking garage here. And you can see that we have entered for reference the IP address, the port number, and this is controller to host. So we know it's online, so all of this data is ready to go and your board's configured. And then if we take a look at doors, we can see also that we have our 2 doors. And again, those are just the doors that we had on the parking garage, which were the entrance gate, which was door 0. And we programmed the reader for Wiegand, and we programmed the relays for valid user. And then exit gate, the same. This was door number 1. And we have the same things programmed in for our reader and for our relays. Okay. So once we have verified all of that, then the last thing I would like you just to show you is that one other way to verify that everything is working properly is to go ahead and look at a longer day's worth of test results, and go ahead and click the historical log tab at the top, and then click historical log. And then this will give us, and you see in the upper left, the date range for the entire day. So we're going to leave that in there for now. And over on the right, we're going to check off all so that we don't have everything. We just want to look at the doors to make sure all of our door events are happening. So we'll go ahead and click view. And we can scroll down through here and we can see the time and the date for each event. We can see that these are doors and that the door name was exit gate, entrance gate, and so on. You can see that the origin was either the site controller, or this was a remote command, or where I presented a key fob, you can see my actual name of the credential card holder is listed under origin, and then whether this was unlocked or whether this was denied or whatever will show up here under status. And then over to the right, you'll see the facility code of the credential that was presented, as well as the credential number, and then just a unique ID for every line item that is in a historical log. So all this information is available to you to verify that your key fobs, and as you can see here, all of your remote commands are logged. And you can see also that whoever's logged in to do the remote command will also be recorded. And then you also have the choice to export. So if you click on export, you can export this into either comma delimited or directly to an Excel file, whatever your choice might be, and then just hit OK. And you can look at great amounts of data, sort them any way you'd like. So bottom line is you're able to confirm through the active witness of your eyes, as you saw the relay lights come on when the commands were sent. Also, you can hear through the beeping of the reader, and so the remote aspects at the door kit are very clear to see whether the device is working or not. And then in the software, you can again check through your maps and through your device map, which will give you the current status of your doors and also your site controller, your door kit controller. And you can easily do get status, or you can check down through all of the data here. You can see what version of the firmware, etc. And you can also look toward the bottom and see that the relays are whether they're active or inactive, and whether all the alarm positions are active or inactive, and of course the date of the status check. And so Very useful information to help you confirm that everything is working correctly. Once you have made all of these checks and you have confirmed that the credentials and the remote unlocks work, then you are ready to turn this controller over to your end user. And this concludes session 5. Your next step would be to install any mobile credentials you may have, and we have separate videos for those for both the UMC cellular credentials, for the NFC field credentials, and also for the Bluetooth credentials. And you can watch those videos to see how you can add those to your door kit and to your Ultra install to make your installation more flexible for the end user as far as credentials. Well, as I mentioned, you have completed session 5, but you've also completed basic door kit training. My name is Damon Palmer, and I've been your Millennium Trainer. If you have any feedback or questions, please send that to an email at customerservice@mgiaccess.com. Thanks for attending, and have a great day.